Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you've ever just sat there staring blankly at a blinking cursor on your screen, you know exactly how massive and overwhelming academic writing can feel. It's a lot, right? But what if we completely change our perspective on this? What if we start viewing this really dense process not as some tedious chore, but as an exciting architectural project? Today, we are going to look at exactly how to construct a winning academic paper, and we're going to do it by building a logically solid argument from the absolute ground up, piece by piece.
Okay, let's dive into this. 97%. According to data from PaperPal, a staggering 97% of manuscripts are rejected by top international publications. I mean, wow. That number immediately establishes the incredibly high stakes of poor academic writing. You could literally have conducted the most groundbreaking world-class research, but if your writing lacks structure, clarity, or that professional tone, your paper simply isn't going to survive the review process. So we absolutely have to build a stronger structure to make sure your research actually gets the platform it deserves.
So here is our blueprint for today. We'll be covering building your core argument, creating a research space, essential academic essay elements, avoiding common writing mistakes, and finally, ethical AI in academic writing. Let's get started.
Section 1. Building your core argument. Pouring the foundation.
So, before you draft a single paragraph, honestly, way before you even start stressing about word counts or formatting, you have to pour a logically sound foundational argument. Because if your underlying logic cracks, well, the entire paper comes crashing down. To make sure our foundation is completely crack-proof, we can use something called the Tullman model. This basically divides an argument into elements like claim, grounds, warrant, backing, rebuttal, and qualifier. Let's look at a fun example from Lumen Learning, deciding between cats and dogs as pets. Let's say your claim is cats make the best pets, and your grounds, which is your data, is that they are the easiest animals to care for. Okay, but you still need a bridge between those 2 points, and that bridge, that is the warrant. The warrant here is the unstated assumption that ease of care is the most important aspect to determining what makes the best pet. See, if your audience defines a good pet as when you can, go play frisbee with at the park, your warrant completely fails, and dogs win. The warrant is that absolutely crucial link connecting their data to your main claim. Without it, the whole logic just falls apart.
So, once you have your logic locked in, how do you actually deliver it? Let's contrast two very distinct architectural styles for your argument. On the one side, we have the classical Aristotelian argument. The goal here is pretty combative, traditionally speaking. You present your case, address the opposition, and then just comprehensively refute them to persuade your audience. But on the other side is the Rogerian argument, which was developed by psychologist Carl Rogers. And the goal here is completely different. It's all about demonstrating empathy and finding common ground. In a Rogerian paper, you actually have to thoroughly validate differing opinions and show that you really understand the contexts in which they make sense, way before you ever attempt to persuade the reader to see your side of things. And this brilliantly illustrates the heart of that empathetic approach. This is a quote from Barack Obama describing his own personal philosophy of persuasion. He noted that to win an argument, you have to first be able to make the other person's argument better than they can. Basically, he realized he had to deeply understand his opponent's worldview and truly extend himself to understand it, to ever gain ultimate agreement. That kind of deep empathy and buy-in is the real bedrock of a successful Rogerian academic argument.
Section 2. Creating a research space. The welcoming front door. Okay, now that we have our foundation poured, how do we actually invite readers inside? How do we welcome them into our specific, highly focused academic conversation? Well, we can do this using John Swale's CARS model for introductions, which happens in 3 very distinct steps. Step 1, establish a territory. This is where you lay out the broad current scholarship and show exactly why this general research area even matters. Step 2, establish a niche. Here, you're looking for a gap, a specific problem, or maybe an unclear question in that existing body of knowledge. You are literally pointing out what is missing. And finally, step 3, occupy the niche. This is where you explain exactly how your specific research objectives, questions, or methods are going to fill that exact missing gap you just pointed out. It's great because it seamlessly guides your reader from the broad outside world right into the absolute heart of your study.
Section 3, Essential Academic Essay Elements, Structural Framing. All right, we've poured the foundation, we've built a welcoming front door. Now we need the internal framing, the stuff that really gives your academic paper its shape, strength, and readability. And we're drawing this directly from the Harvard Writing Project. Here are the crucial elements they identify for successful academic essay: motive, key terms, evidence, analysis, structure, and stitching.
Now, obviously, evidence and analysis are what you actually do with your data, but I really want to highlight motive for a second. Your motive isn't just your personal, idiosyncratic reason for picking a topic. It's the reason your argument is genuinely interesting to the general reader. If you skip establishing a real motive in your intro, peer reviewers are going to get to the end of your paper and just ask, so what? It is absolutely essential to prove exactly why your thesis isn't just obvious to everyone right from the very start.
Now, what's really interesting on this next point is this concept of stitching. The Harvard Writing Project defines stitching as the words that literally tie together the parts of an argument. You do this by using transition words as a little signposts, or by explicitly echoing key concepts and resonant phrases from earlier in your text. Think of stitching as the actual joints and screws that are holding your entire architectural structure together. It's what ensures your reader smoothly and logically progresses from one subtopic to the next, without getting totally lost in your framing.
Section 4. Avoiding common writing mistakes. The building inspection.
So, your paper is built, but before it can be published, it has to pass a pretty rigorous inspection. And frankly, this is where a lot of structures fail. An editage survey found that a staggering 76% of research authors struggled to prepare a well-written, error-free manuscript for submission. According to PaperPal, there are 7 critical pitfalls that routinely cause a paper to either collapse entirely or face an immediate desk rejection. Let's punch through these really quickly. Number 1, language errors, like using inappropriate slang or jargon. 2, poor grammar, like failing to use the active voice. 3, repetition of ideas just to hit some arbitrary word count, which just makes the paper bloated. 4, weak introductions that completely fail to engage the reader. 5, neglecting editing and skipping those crucial final logic checks. 6, ignoring the journal's specific formatting guidelines. And finally, number 7, plagiarism.
So the crucial point here really is plagiarism. I mean, we all know it means the uncredited use of texts or ideas, but I want you to notice the second half of that definition. It includes quoting your own previous studies without proper attribution. Yep, you heard that right. Even accidental self-plagiarism is considered a severe ethical offense by academic journals. It can result in immediate manuscript rejection, serious academic penalties, and sometimes even legal action. You absolutely must meticulously check your work to ensure original presentation and proper citation every single time.
Section 5. Ethical AI in Academic Writing. Smart Home Integrations.
We are truly living in a modern era of academic writing. Artificial intelligence now acts as this incredibly powerful, yet potentially risky integration into our structural toolkit. Honestly, it's a lot like wiring a state-of-the-art smart system into a newly built house. Based on criteria outlined by Luis Codina, there is a very delicate balance we have to strike with AI. On the one hand, the benefits are undeniable, right? It drastically improves efficiency, assists heavily with generating ideas, and helps refine texts at machine speed. But on the other hand, the ethical requirements demand absolute transparency and highly responsible use. While AI can undoubtedly improve the design and grammar of your text, you have to declare its use and apply strict transparency to ensure your academic work remains scientifically valid. At the end of the day, it is a tool to support your reasoning, not to replace it.
And that brings us to the end of our architectural blueprint, leaving us with this final, genuinely vital question. How will you balance artificial intelligence with authentic academic integrity? As you take all these structural tools, from the Tolman model all the way to the CARS framework, to go out and construct your own winning academic paper, I really want you to keep that provocative thought in mind. Remember, your foundation must be yours. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and hey, happy building!